同学们好。
老师好。
Great. It is the 10th of July. We're going to be spending July and August doing sort of review and refinement around the traditional form. What I was thinking of doing is this time through, we'll practice the whole form together and see if there are any questions. There are a bunch of fundamental things that I'd like to work on. We'll talk about questions, and then we'll do things like looking at footwork, looking at different kinds of coordinations. This month is, we're focusing on coordinate upper and lower, which is very convenient because that's one of the key things that I'm working on right now. But anyway, so let's start with a few minutes of standing practice. So feet shoulder width or a bit wider. And first, check your posture. That's not really what we're doing in standing practice today, because we're going to be talking about coordination, which is unifying soft into hard. And to do that, you need to be soft first. And to do soft, you need to relax. And we have two ways of practicing relax and being soft. One is the sequence itself, and the other is standing practice. So let's start by just checking the posture. You know the four posture essentials: empty, lively, pushing up, and energetic, which is the head. And then the other side of the spine, feel your waist relaxed. So open the spine up from the top to the bottom. Feel the head rising up, helping you to sink the shoulders and drop the elbows. Now absorb the chest and round the back and connect that to your waist to open your lower back so that you can do abdominal breathing. And go all the way down to the soles of the feet and check that weight is over the bubbling well and crotch rounded, so you're solidly grounded and rooted. But from there, what I want you to do is to, now that you've got a good posture, work through your body and try and soften. Try and make everything 1/16 of an inch longer by softening, not by pushing and stiffening. So head up, hips down, legs bending to extend the legs. Soften the shoulder to extend the neck. Round the arms. So the armpits pull down on the shoulders, make the hollow of the armpits. So the elbows pull on the shoulders. Then they carry the wrists forward and the fingertips forward. And feel that circle expanding. But check your breath. Make sure that you don't extend so much that you stiffen up. So let's just spend a minute without me yattering, just focusing on softening, extending, and opening. So Tai Chi Chuan is about yin and yang. So we have still practice and moving practice. So very slowly start moving. Lift the arms up, straighten the legs, extend up and press down. And do this at your own pace. Don't try to match your breath if you're doing it really slowly. Just try to maintain the feeling of softness and extension that you had when you were still, now that you're moving. And we'll do one more round and finish with the palms in front of the hips. Press down, keep the knees bent. Moving hands like waves. And as you do this at your own pace, add your waist movement forward, back. So as you come up out of sinking, forward and up waist circle, and then back and down as the hands come down. And finish when you get to the end. Straighten the legs and step the feet closed. Good. So what I'd like to do now is practice the form together. And one of the things we'll do, hopefully you'll have a few minutes after class, we'll talk about what worked, what didn't, what we want to change next week. But for this class at least, we're going to practice the whole form together. Please shout out when I get lost. But let's practice the form together, and what I'd like you to pay attention to, if you can, is the softness. So try and use the sequence practice to practice being soft and relaxed. Then after we've done the form, done Q&A, we'll start working on unifying. Okay. Traditional form. Prepare. Opening. Grassbird's tail. Ward off left. Ward off right. Roll back. Press. Push. Single whip. Raise hands, step forward. White crane. Spreads its wings. Left brush knee. Hand strums the lute. Left brush knee. Right brush knee. left brush knee, hand strums the lute, left brush knee, step forward, parry, block and punch. Apparent closing up. Cross hands. Embrace tiger. Return to the mountain. Roll back. Press. Push. Transition to fist under elbow. Fist under elbow. Step back. Repulse monkey. 1, 2, 3. Diagonal flying. Raise hands. Step forward. White crane. Left brush knee. Needle at C bottom. Fan through the back. Turn body. Chop with fist. Parry, block and punch. Step up, grasp bird's tail. Roll back. Press. Push. Transition to single whip. Single whip. Cloud hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single whip. High part on horse. Transition to right separation kick. Right separation kick. Transition to left separation kick. left separation kick, turn body, left heel kick, parry, left brush knee, right brush knee, step forward, punch down, turn body, chop with fist, parry, block and punch, right heel kick, strike tiger, left, right, right heel kick, twin fists, boxing opponent's ears, left heel kick, turn body, right heel kick, step forward, parry, block and punch, apparent closing up, cross hands, embrace tiger, roll back, press, push, single whip. We'll transition to diagonal single whip. Wild horse parts its mane. 1, 2, 3, 'Grass bird's tail'. Ward off left, ward off right, roll back, press, push, single whip. Fair lady works with shuttles. 1, 2, 3. 4. 'Crossbird's tail. 'Single whip. 1. 2. 3. 'Snake creeps down. 'Golden rooster. 1. 2. 'Repulse monkey. 1. 2. 3. 'Diagonal flying. 'Raise hands. 'White crane. 'Left brush knee. 'Needle at sea bottom. 'Fan through the back. 'Turn body. 'White snake spits out its tongue. Parry, block and punch. 'Step up, grasp bird's tail. The whole sequence. Single whip. 'Cloud hands. 1. 2. 3. 'Single whip. High punt on horse. Thrust palm. Turn body. Cross kick. Step forward, punch to the groin. Step up, grasp bird's tail. Do all the movements. Single whip. Snake creeps down. Step up to 7 stars. Step back. Ride the tiger. Turn body. Lotus kick. Bend bow. Shooting tiger. Parry, block and punch. Apparent closing up. Cross hands. Closing. Back to original position. Stop. And Judy made it in again. Judy, looks like you've been having all sorts of problems. And Lorraine's there and Rogelio's there as well. Hey guys, and Didi. Hey Didi. Okay, so we've practiced the form. Before I start with, you know, the sequence of things that I've been planning for fundamental refinement review, does anybody have any questions about the whole form, or particularly the third section, which is what we finished on? Or do you have so many questions that you don't know where to begin?
I'm not sure it's a question, excuse me, but it seems to me, for whatever reason, when I'm fine on brush knees, following my hand. When I do parry and block and punch, if I look back, I'm wobbly. And I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, so let me just make sure I'm following. When you do brush knees, you're okay, but when you do repulse monkey and you look back, you lose your balance, you said?
No, repulse monkey's okay. It's when I go to parry, block, and punch.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. At almost every one, I was like, to the point where I stopped looking back.
Okay.
You do.
Oh, Judy, I'm sorry about that. Good luck. And those of you who are in very hot weather like Donna, stay hydrated. I have one thought, Donna, and the other folks may have other thoughts as well. And actually it comes from something that Master Young, that I noticed him saying about when you step in and step out again. And when you're stepping in, you know, so for example, if you've got a very wide stance and you need to come in and step out again, what you do when you step in is you're really re-establishing your root on that back foot so that you can go out. The difference between the brush knees and parry, block and punch is that, so for brush knee, you know, you're moving forward onto this right foot and you're moving through onto the new foot. With parry, block and punch, your entire weight as you're stepping out to the transition step is on the left leg. So it feels to me as if you've got more reliance on the left leg. That might be a problem. The other one is when we step through for brush knees, the back leg is just following the swing of the waist, and so the back leg is just swinging through. What's different with parry, block and punch is that as the back leg is swinging, it's also rotating. So the leg here is doing a swing rotate. You might recall Master Young makes this distinction about, it's easiest in the arms, right? I'm swinging my arms, I'm rotating my arms, and I'm doing a swing and rotate. So, and the same applies to the other extremities, same applies to the leg. So when you're doing parry, block and punch, you're actually swinging your leg out this way.
Right.
Which may be throwing you off.
Well, and I'm thinking the first thing you said, I may not be rooted. I may be like transitioning through somewheres instead of rooting.
Yes.
And so I'll pay attention to that.
Try that and let us know next week how that worked, if it did work.
Yeah, because when I can do it just now really slowly, so I think I'm probably just drifting through instead of rooting. So I'll pay attention.
Yes. Yeah, right. So one of the things that we'll get to, and actually it's on my agenda, is I want to reestablish our focus on being soft and relax. But the focus for this month, because it's coordinate upper and lower, is about unifying the energy. And what's important there is one of the ways you can practice that is to practice at different speeds. And actually, sort of really unifying energy doesn't really show up until you practice faster. So what you've just said, Donna, makes a lot of sense to me. You know, your familiarity or comfort varies depending on the speed.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a thought on that? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about unification of energy. And this is an exercise that Master Young, I've been aware in the last few years, he's been doing a lot more. Before I do that, so a few of us were actually at the seminar over the weekend. And so my head is full of Master Young things. One of the things that I noticed that really stayed with me is that at the end of doing a form, he will actually pause for quite a while before he stops. So for example, you're in cross hands, you go back to the original position and you come to here, and he waits here, and we normally say 2 breaths, but it feels to me as if it's even longer. And for me, that's again yin and yang, right? We've got moving and we've got still. When we begin the sequence, we're still, right? It's wuji, there's nothing. Then we do the sequence, there's yin and yang, there's movement, and then we finish, but we need to loop all the way back and reconnect to wuji by just pausing for a minute. Anyway, enough woo-wuji. Let us talk about the unification exercise. So this is what he was showing, and I'll briefly remind you, if you know it, or just introduce to you what he does. He says you go back and forward, and what you're doing is you're practicing starting with rooting in the feet, generating power in the legs, moving the waist moving the chest, open and close, the chest moving the arms, and then the energy shows up in the hands. I find it quite hard to do that. So what we're going to be doing together in the next 2 months is we're sort of almost going to work our way up to that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start, let's say, in a left bow stance. So establish a nice left bow stance. And what I'd like you to do is be forwards and shift your weight back and stop. And then shift your weight forward and stop. Let your arms hang down, and you'll see that as you stop, your arms keep moving. Because of the braking at the end, the arms keep moving. Think about it as you're in a Corvette, and you have to stop at a stoplight, and your furry dice swing. So, just go forward. Let's do this 10 times. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change to a right bow stance. And now we're going to do the same thing. So Mike always talks about, imagine you've got a weight around your waist hanging through a hole in the floor, and you're throwing that weight forward, and it's pulling you. The pendulum is going to keep swinging that way. You've got to use this leg to stop. This time around, though, in your right bow stance, I want you to pay attention when you come forward that you keep your crotch rounded. Because we pay so much attention to going forward, very often this front knee comes in. This is a great thing if you have a mirror to practice in front of a mirror, but the screen might work for you as well. So back and then forward. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One of the things you might find is as you go forward, and I'll exaggerate a little, as you go forward, your back heel will lift off the ground. And as your front leg stops you, it'll slam the back heel back into the ground. And I was able to check this weekend when Master Young does this, his heel comes off the floor and slams back in, and you can actually feel the ground moving when that happens because he's delivering so much energy. So that's the legs. Now we're going to practice the waist. And we're just going to do the forward back movement. So perform a left bow stance. You can just use your hands in front of you, and what I want you to do is to just move your chest forward and back. Just the chest. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now what we're going to do is we're going to combine the legs and the chest. So as you come, so we're going to come back and then go forward. As your back leg pushes you forward, let your waist pull your chest forward. So back and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, change footwork, right bow stance, same thing. So first we'll just do the chest, and then we'll add the chest and the legs. So forward, back, the chest, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now add the legs. 1, all in one movement. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's all we're going to do today. Next week we'll add the chest open close, but just do this like 100 times each side every day for this week and you'll be fine. Yes, Didi.
I just have a question. When you're asking us to do that, are we opening and closing our our chest here. When you just said do the chest,
Yes.
I wasn't sure what the instruction was, whether it was an open close
Yes.
okay.
So
that was what I was doing.
Yes. So my instruction was underdetermined, because the next step is, as the chest comes forward, to start with as the chest comes forward, it's from here, the chest opens and then it closes. Opens and closes, opens and closes. But that is the chest shoulder movement that I'm not focusing on this week. Right now, if you can do that, brilliant. But just try and get the chest moving backwards and forwards is a win.
Got it. Thank you.
The other thing that I didn't do, and we probably won't do in this sequence of exercises, is we are actually delivering forward, but you can also pull back, right? So we are delivering energy, let's say it's a brush knee or something like that, but if you're doing a repulse monkey, you're going backwards and stopping, backwards and stopping, backwards and stopping. We're not going to practice that. I leave that as an exercise for you to do on your own time. So what I want to talk a little bit about is this coordinate upper and lower, which is the essential that we're working on. One way of thinking about that, the first level, is that the legs and the arms go at the same time. So for example, if I'm doing left brush knee to right brush knee, I go back, arm comes up, I turn the knee, the arms come to here. I go to the side, heel touch, arms to the side, brush as the foot flattens, knee bends. That's the first step of movements familiar. The next step is actually to start feeling the energy going from the feet through the legs, through the waist and into the arms, because that actually is what informs and drives the arm coordinations. And if you think about one of the things that, and this actually comes from the seminar as well, Marcy Young was really emphasizing, where are you in storage and when are you in release, which I found a very helpful tip. So when you are unsure of what the coordination should be, the first thing is, you go like none, one, two, many. So the first step is to say, can I divide it into storage and release? So for example, with brush knee, here I'm in storage. Now I'm in release. So that's the first one, storage, release, storage, release. And you can see that the exercise that we've just done, you can do with brush knees very easily. Or you can do it with parry, block and punch. Or you can do it with ward off right and ward off left. But think about, where is storage and where is release? In order to make all this stuff work, I want to go back to something which hopefully we've all spent time doing, but it's always worth doing more of it, which is just the footwork transitions. In the next week, maybe the week after, we're going to be talking about tap step and stuff like that, but let's just do the basic transitions. So I will just go in the same direction as you, is my assumption. So the red tag is like, that's the front. The front is here. And I'm going to use my arms in front of my chest, which you can do as well, which helps just check that your chest is pointing in the right direction. So let's just do a bunch of transitions. So we'll start in parallel stance. So let's go into a left bow stance. So shift weight to the right, open the left toe, shift weight onto the left, step out, and let's say forward left bow stance. Turn the direction of the body through 90 degrees. So shift back, turn the left toe through 45. Bring the right foot in, re-establish your root, step out, go forward. Let's change go straight ahead to another bow stance. Shift back, open the right toe, re-establish, weight on the right foot, shift forward, chest opens, heel touch, go forward. Now let's turn around, turn the direction 180. Shift weight back, pivot the left heel through 135 if you can, step around if you can't, pick up the left foot, step through, push through. Shift back, keep in a straight line. Open the right toe, go to a left bow stance. And go forward. Right bow stance. Let's change, go 180 degrees. So turn around. So we're in left bow stance. Right bow stance. Now we're going to go to a turn through 90 degrees into an empty stance, heel touch. So heel touch, chest open to the corner. Change, 90 degrees, heel touch, going to the side. Change again, change through 90 degrees, pivot the right foot, ball touch this time. And change to 90 degrees, ball touch in the other direction. So let's go backwards. Step back, center line two sides, push off with the front foot, pivot on the front heel. Chest opens to the side. Step back, touch with the toe, yield back, push back. And another good one. Just for grins and giggles. Now let's do a transition step. So open the left toe and take two steps. So the first step will be to the corner. The second step is into a bow stance. Let's change direction, 180 degrees. Shift weight back. Now we're in a bow stance. Let's go to a one leg stance. Shift weight back, open the right toe 45 degrees, stand up. You're in a one leg stance. And we can go forward or back. Let's go forward. Put the foot down 45 degrees to turn to your right through 90 degrees. Ball touch. Step back. Pivot on the heel. Turn to the side, pivot the heel 45 degrees, stand up, stand on one leg, and stop. So you can see we can do this for indefinitely. What I'd like to do, we'll just do it a little bit, but now I want for the next thing, if you haven't already been doing it, is add, and I'm going to not specify which steps you take, because then you've got to listen to me and think for yourself. Just do these changes, whatever changes come to mind for you that you want to do, and speed it up so that you can actually feel when you're stepping into it, you can feel the push and support, you can feel the stop, and make sure that you feel the rooting, in other words, the push and support. And if you're going quickly enough, you'll be able to do the central settle down as well, because you have to stop yourself with the front leg. Let's just do that for a few minutes, and I will watch you and try and remember all the things we talked about. Being soft, rooting, delivering energy, changing the speed, keeping the crotch rounded. When your leg is up, keep your foot in a little bit, your shin pointed in a little bit. And the next thing to add to this as you're doing this, if you're not already doing, is keep your gaze on the horizon. Okay. And let's finish there. So one of the things that I wanted to do or try is the transition game. I'm going to ask my smartphone to give me two numbers between 2 and 100. And let's see let's roll the numbers, and we get 63 and 32. We're going to pick the movements in the traditional form, movements 63 and 32, and we're going to see if we can figure out how to do the transition from 63 to 32. So 63 is grassbird's tail, and we'll just say it's grassbird's tail push. And movement 32 is cloud hands. So here's the challenge, and so let's just all of us take a couple of minutes, go from push to cloud hands if you can, without going through single whip. Okay, Alin is up first.
Oh,
You want to, because you're assuming the position, so let's see what you've got for us.
well, I'm just gonna like pull and grab and turn my left toe mitt to center, and then I'm gonna step up with my cloud hand.
Yep.
And then to go back to push, I'm going to wait till I get here, and then I'm going to get to here, and I'm going to step out, and then I'm going to have an extra circle here, and then I'm going to push it.
Okay, we couldn't see your feet, but let's see if somebody else
They're already kind of there, yeah.
has a suggestion. So anybody else have an alternative or a affirmation of that one?
I can affirm how we got into cloud hands. We did it exactly the same way.
Yeah.
It seemed immediately easy to do it that way.
Right. So you're going to flatten the palms and do a deflect here, and now you're in cloud hands.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And how do we get from now? We can go in either direction. So let's have going forward and back. Any suggestions? From cloud hands into push.
The only suggestion I have is that we bring our arms in and store. So, I can't tell you exactly when I do it, but it didn't work to keep this. What worked is as I was turning, however I was going to turn, to, bring them in, shift weight, step,
Yes.
and then push.
Yes.
So then I have storage here to push.
Right. That works, but what we have there is you've ended up, and so let's assume for the purposes of this exercise we started in a right bow stance. I'm guessing, Dee Dee, you were essentially doing, cloud hands 3, stepping to the corner with the right foot. Then you're in a left bow stance.
Oh, I wasn't doing 3 of them. I was just picking the cloud hands and trying to go from there.
Okay, no, sure. But you were stepping, so how were you getting the back foot to the corner?
I hadn't gotten there yet. So,
Okay.
I mean, it seems to me that as I'm stepping, I turned 90 degrees and I did 2 steps.
Okay.
And then I think the idea was that I was coming in like this.
Yes.
So I had to change 2 things. I had to like shift, store, step, right? And then push out. But I hadn't gotten to the point. Does that make any sense? I'm making this up as I go along.
So I think one way you could do it with fewer steps would be I'll do it facing the same direction as you would be. So when I'm coming to the left, I would step my right foot to the corner, and then I'm into a left bow stance. The way you would describe, right? So now we're in push, but we're on the left.
I
Just
could.
there you are, one step.
I could, but yes, you're right. Exactly. Yes, that's much more efficient.
But what you've introduced there implicitly is something we'll be talking about, is the tap step. So what you could also do if you wanted to get into a right bow stance is you could go to a left, do a transition step with the left foot, come in, and then you're on the right. So bits like parry, block, and punch.
Yep. Yep.
So yes, Elaine.
And then your body turn would add some power to your push
Yes.
body as you.
Yes. Yes.
Remember, I can do circular cloud hands too, and that makes it all the more easy.
Okay. Yes. So from a right bow stance, how would you get into circular cloud hands?
Well, I get into cloud hands a right bow stance. Okay, so I was doing it.
Because normally we're in a left.
It doesn't matter. So I came like this before, but I'm just saying I can either go back or like I have the option to go back or forward. I can't plan it. I just have to be doing it, and
That's
it
right.
happens. Yeah,
That's right.
It's very hard until I've done it a couple times for me to tell you what I was doing.
So one of the things you might do, all of us, is to just this week, if you have a few minutes, just play around with going from a push to cloud hands and back again. And think about not just the footwork, but then start thinking about the waist turn and thinking about the arm movements. As Didi was saying, in fact, this kind of exercise that we were doing earlier, right, this one is going into push, is the simplest one. And so, you gather your arms up. Another one that we do, for example, is when we go into Fair Lady Work shuttles. We can start in this position with our palms here and go into Fair Lady Work shuttles this way. And this is, by the way, as you may know, this is how you do single movement practice for Fair Lady Work shuttles. But your upper arm doesn't have to go up. It could just come forward. That's straightforward. Good. And my goodness, time is up. 同学们，再见。
老师再见。
老师再见。